Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hudnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod and head on over to Facebook. Give the page over there a like as well so you don't miss any of our ticket giveaways. And if you haven't subscribed to the ThunderCast YouTube channel, there is no time like the present. There is a lot going on over there now. We debuted a brand new show this past week that has been doing pretty well. I can see that folks enjoyed that episode. You can look forward to more of the new show Inside the Thunder in the coming weeks. But for now, man, what a busy week in herd athletics. We got some all SBC type news. We got baseball and softball doing their thing. We got some news around coaching circles and a whole lot more. So let's get into it all. But first, let's get a quick word from our sponsors at 304carwreck.com. If you've been injured in a car wreck, visit 304carwreck.com on the web or on Facebook. What happens when an Ohio driver crashes into a West Virginia driver in Kentucky? That can be a mess. But if you can dream it up, Jason and Matt have probably been there, done that, and gotten their clients paid. Don't fight the insurance companies alone. Contact Jason and Matt at 304carwreck.com. Well, Russ, it's become the weekly question that you surprised me with. So I don't know how to set it up. I'm going to have to come up with a new creative way to set it up instead of saying, give me 5 things that every herd fan needs to know. But that is the name of the segment. I guess I'll just continue to be surprised if there are more. So give me 5 things that every herd fan needs to know this week.
No, I'm going to give you 6 things. This week, 6 things every herd fan needs to know this week, as always, brought to you by Ignite Link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team. Number 1, this is from news straight from Christian Spears' mouth as he was on the drive with Paul Swan.
Mm-hmm.
Dan D'Antoni is returning for at least one more season.
Yeah, there was some speculation out there, and I mean, it's good to put that to bed now because it lets a lot of folks know a lot of things, and particularly it lets our coaching staff and some of the guys we've been recruiting know that Dan's going to be around for more than just this season. It's hard to recruit as a quote-unquote lame duck coach. You need to know where you're going, what's going on, the future of the program, and we know, at least for now, that Dan's going to be here for more than this season. I don't think it's out there for how long right now, but we do know it'll be for more than just the upcoming season.
No, I think his was up. He's going to be here for the upcoming season.
Oh.
We don't know if it's going to be 2 years.
I thought he had this coming season to go.
No,
his contract was up this year, so he would have been.
Year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But still, even though it's not out there, I would like to think it's not just going to be a 1-year deal. Let me put it that way then, because it's just so damn hard to recruit on a 1-year deal.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of this move. I really like Coach D'Antoni. I love the style of basketball. Anytime that you have a loss and a high-profile loss, social media and the message boards tend to have that knee-jerk reaction. We've talked about this a lot. You and I have had these, you had mentioned several times on this show that in the past you would be like, I didn't even want anybody to talk to me for a day or something after a big emotional loss.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of roller coaster this year from such a high that he brought with this season. And then the last 2 games where we missed out on winning the regular season championship in the Sun Belt, and then we lost heartbreaker in that first round. There's been people that have been down on D'Antoni and wanting him to step aside or be dismissed and not renewed. I'm not one of them. I like it. I also think that he has brought a good style of player here that is worried about classroom behavior, that sort of thing. So I'm happy with that. And I also don't get where people say that he's 100% against the transfer portal. And I think you agree with me. And I think that we should dispel that by discussing his kind of look on the transfer portal.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to say he's against it. It has to fit. It has to make sense.
Let's name a couple.
Okay.
John Elmore. He's a transfer.
The greatest of all time for many people out there in the fan base. Okay. Next.
James Kelly.
Great 1 year guy.
Came here for 1 year from Miami.
And still many people think, man, if he had more than 1 year, Marshall goes to another tournament. You know what I mean? That's the kind of feeling I hear from a lot of the fan base when it comes to James Kelly. Man, if we had him for 2 years or more, we'd have gone to the tournament.
We just brought in Cam Kerfman, 3-point specialist this year. Absolutely changed several different games that we were involved in, stretched the floor. I mean, some of them, was he shooting on our side of the court or the other side? You know, he was shooting for such long range. It drew the coverage out, allowed us to penetrate more. I like that move.
I think you can't argue that bringing in Cam Kerfman just brought back Marshall's offense to being able to do what they do really well. Yeah. Just shoot and run, shoot and run, and shoot and run. And yeah, you can make your arguments for how we got out rebounded and things like that. But that's not really our style. Our style is a fast pace and a lot of threes. And we know that. We all know that. And you can't sit here and tell me that adding Cam Kerfman didn't make a difference. I mean, look at the win totals year over year. Of what he allowed Marshall to do offensively with shifting guys back into what you call their more natural fit of a position type thing. And I mean, that's 3 stellar players, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, Ron Popeil, there is more. We've got Andy Taylor, who everybody is hoping comes back and was seemingly announced as coming back on that same Paul Swan show with Christian Spears. It's he was at Furman and came here, and is it Furman? It was Furman, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I'm second guessing myself, but anyway, he transferred here the same manner kind of as Elmore did. You know, he had gone to another school and everything, and everyone wants Andy to come back.
Yeah.
He also tried to bring in Levi Cook, 6'10" guy. It didn't work out, but there has been many in the 9 years that he's been here that he has brought in or attempted to bring in. So it's not that he's against it. It's seemingly he's against the notion of bringing in 8 to 12 new players each year or every 2 years or something. And I'm against that. You know, I don't want to have to learn the roster each year and have zero loyalty from these people that are here and then they jump to somewhere else.
Yeah, if you're gonna be the fan that says, well, you know, we're just not hitting the portal hard enough, and you know, what do you want? What are you expecting? Are you expecting this coaching staff to go out and find 5 new starters every single year? How do you expect to recruit? Traditional recruiting or the portal? When you're a guy, you say, no, come here, we need you, we want you. Just in a year, you're going to go find 5 more guys, and I mean, that's just not. It doesn't make any sense. So you use the portal how you're supposed to augment the team that you have, to plug that 1 hole, 2 holes, to get that weapon that you need to put you over to the next threshold, right? To make the push. You know, if you go out and you get 1 or 2 guys, you find the right guys that you need this year, that pushes Marshall to that 1 or 2 more victories that we needed this year to be a regular season champ or a tournament champ or whatever. Are we going to sit here a year from now and go, well, we really needed to do more? No, you're going to be happy because you made it to the NIT, you made it to the NCAA tournament, and that's the goal. You know, a prestigious postseason tournament. Everybody wants to go to the NCAAs, obviously, yes. And I am not against the decision that was made to not play in a pay-for-play tournament. I am not against that. It sucks that we didn't get to watch Tavion and Andy one more time together on the floor in Huntington, but still, I think this program is a little bit higher right now. They're at a level, a notch above to where we need to be playing in the CBIs. If we had 8 freshmen on the team and we really just needed some
Yeah.
extra in-game play. Okay, I can see that. But that's not where we are. That's not
Yeah.
where we are. So you hit the portal to find the next Cam Kerfman that you need. You hit the portal to find somebody that is a similar type player to Tavion Kinsey that can do some of the things that he did really well to complement the play of Andy and Cam and Micah and Obina and all those guys, Connor and Fricks, all these guys. So you can't just go find another Tavion Kinsey, but there are players out there that do things very similarly than Tavion does that can help bolster this team and reload this team to help them get over the hump for 2023.
Final thing that I want to say is only because you mentioned not making the NCAA tournament, and I was running some numbers. I mean, this is it every year. This doesn't change, but it just got in my head the other day. There's currently 358 NCAA Division I teams. 68 of those 358 make the tournament because of the 4 play-in games. 32 of the 68, and after the play-in, 64 are automatic bids.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree that those automatic bids should have to also go to the play-in. I think that they should. If you're getting an automatic bid, it should
You
automatically
should automatically be in.
But 32 of those 68 are automatic bids, so that leaves 36 of the remaining 326 teams. 11% make the NCAA tournament each year that are not automatic qualifiers. It is just ridiculously hard to do so, and with the bias towards certain conferences, it's going to be. I mean, it's probably extremely rare to never the Sun Belt Conference or Conference USA or that general area in there is ever going to be a 2-bid conference. And it's just because of the system that has been put in place and that will always be put in place.
Yeah.
And it's about fan bases and viewership numbers and people that will pay big money to go. But I think we've shown at Marshall that we'll travel, so
yeah. And I tell you what, it is unfortunate because you say 32 of those are automatic bids, and that's a technical term that is true. But let's be honest. If you look at the Big Ten, you might as well say, well, they're going to automatically get 4 or 5 teams, maybe more. ACC is going to get 4 or 5 teams, 6 teams, maybe more. So it's not just a 32 automatic qualifying bid. It's probably closer to 50 after you run down the big, the big money conferences. I'd say far more than 32, probably closer to 50 or maybe even 60 slots are taken up.
Yeah.
With that kind of stuff. And there you just can't tell. We've seen it in the tournament now. There is no reason that a mid-tier, Big 12 team should slide in there when you've got a team like Fairleigh Dickinson who's a 16 seed that goes in and wins a game.
Yeah.
Talent is everywhere. So your name brand shouldn't matter as much. We know it always will.
It will.
But it doesn't mean that these teams are any less competitive.
There's upsets every year, and that's what we all love about March Madness. So, I mean, why not just let the ones in that deserve to be in there,
Yeah. I think every conference ought to be a 2-bid league, and then you freaking hand out the at-larges after that.
Yeah. We're going to move on to number 2, but keep it with basketball. Tavion Kinsey and Andy Taylor racked up a few more awards. First, I want to say that Taylor was the NABC 23 first team, and that was also given to Tavion Kinsey. So both of them made the first team in that specific division that they were in. The district for the USBWA All District 2, Tavion Kinsey was named to that. So, I'd really like to see the Henson Award or something like that, but I am not going to downplay this, because it's huge.
This is big time.
The District 2 was, what was it? Was it 6 states or something?
It's pretty big. It's sizable.
Yeah. And, it's, I don't know, but to be able to be named to those and have 2 on the first team
right
for the NABC, I mean, 40% of the roster was our herd starters.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, right? And that kind of just drives home the fact that we're doing something right. We don't need to blow up the ship here and rebuild the program. It's doing pretty well. So, we need we it's a good thing that Dan's going to be around for a little while longer, and we can see if we can just make that push. I think we can make that
What
push.
one of those two was a transfer.
I'm just saying. Just
Yeah,
saying.
we talked about it, but there it is.
Ball don't lie. The ball don't lie.
It does for me now at 43. I just can't shoot anymore. All right, number 3, volleyball floor has arrived and it is installed and it is damn good looking.
Yeah, it is. I bet the team's going to be pretty stoked to be able to have a killer surface to play on, and it looks really good. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for Ari. First and foremost, I'm excited for the team. It's just another piece of the puzzle, for our volleyball program. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little surprised at how many people on the social media were like, "Wow," because you don't think like a volleyball floor is going to catch much traction with some of the average folks, but it really did. It really did. So that's cool, man.
It's sharp. It is sharp, and we talked about this on the show before. It is now I'm going to blank on the name. I think it's TerraFlex, but it might be VersaFlex.
That sounds right.
But had flex in it. I know that. It's the same exact floor that they have when it comes time for NCAA tournaments. So you're getting used to practicing and playing every game on that floor. It's just one more little thing to help push. And I have to say too, Christian Spears, who just had his first year here, there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about that he's done. I don't think anybody out there can accuse him of not paying attention to the other sports except for football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all this guy does is say, hey, we want to make every single sport better and let these players have their due. And this is one of those,
Yeah, if you haven't, I mean, I'm sure you probably did, but for those listening and watching, if you haven't listened to that episode of The Drive with Paul Swan, where they were talking about Christian and his 1-year anniversary and some of the things that he had done and some of the things that he hopes to do, you start to look back and go, wow, there was a lot accomplished in a year.
Yeah.
In a year that, in that wasn't even coming close to getting done over multiple years under other previous administration. It's no shade being tossed. It's just, these are the facts. Stuff is getting done under Christian Spears. It's not just being talked about, it's getting done. And, I'll believe it when I see it crowd, not just talking about baseball, but other things. How many more things do you need to see before you begin to believe? Because we're seeing thing after thing after thing after thing. And this is just the latest and greatest. So if you're not bought in, if you're not, let me be cheesy. If you're not all in, right? Because we talked about that last week. If you're not all in on what Christian Spears, this administration, and the athletic department is doing right now, it's a good time to get all in because they're making waves and making big strides. And it's only been a year.
Yeah. And again, I feel that it cannot be talked about enough of how much shine. I mean, one of the goals of our show is to show shine to every single athletic program. And this athletic department administration, they 100% are doing that. They want the best for each individual team that we sponsor,
Yeah. It's one thing when you choose, like we do, to put shine on all the programs. It's another thing when you're charged with doing that by job and you deliver. If we chose to, stop covering some sports as hard as we do, then that's our choice. But, Christian can't just go, well, I'm not going to do anything for, 75% of our sports anymore. I'm just going to focus on 2 or 3 of them. And that's, well, that makes for a short career, but he's doing far beyond what I thought would have been possible in a year. So congratulations to him for that.
Yeah. Moving on, number 4, Emily McClatchy is named the Sun Belt Conference Women's Golfer of the Week.
Got a men's golfer of the week so far. Got a women's golfer of the week. She kind of killed it. What she finished second?
She finished second. We're going to talk about this in Around the Herd, but one stroke off the lead, and she was the only player, if I'm remembering this stat correctly, that was 1 over par or better all 3 rounds.
Wow.
So she was consistent. They had some foul weather down there, and some others had better rounds because they had a worse round than her. But she was the only player that was +1 or better in all 3 rounds.
Man, I mean, I love that. Any of the week, I'm loving, right? So, congratulations to Emily McClatchy, Sunbelt golfer, women's golfer of the week. How kick ass.
We need to go back now, and maybe our friends over at the athletic department are keeping track of this, but I would like to see how many sports now we have had a Sunbelt player of the week, and see what ones are left out there that we still need to get.
Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
And I would like to compare that to, others. Maybe we can have that be a Sunbelt. They've got that.
Yeah, we need an of the week tracker, a conference wide of the week tracker.
That's
that'd
right.
Be pretty that'd be pretty legit.
And that's our bingo card, when you get one in every sport. So
you're gonna win the of the week cup at the end of the athletic year.
I would take an of the week cup. All right. More good news with the Sunbelt Conference. 11 track and field members were named SBC All Conference.
Yeah.
I have them here. Macy Majoy earned All Conference first team following her gold medal winning 3.98 meter clear. And we had talked about that. That is not her best. That's all she needed to do to win that. And she was the first ever Marshall student athlete to win a Sunbelt Conference championship. Will always go down in history for that. 6 other women earned second team accolades. That was Marianne Adebayo, Diana Goodman, Abby Herring, Kylie Maston, Marley Porter, and Sydney Smith. Adebayo and Goodman earned second place finishes in the weight throw and pole vault. The team of Herring, Maston, Porter, and Smith finished runner-up in the women's DMR. The DMR team of Brett Armbruster, Kazuma Bowring, Ethan Bowens, and Matthew Sheenberg finished third in the men's finals, earning all-conference third team. And Armbruster also finished third in the 800-meter, racing a time of 1:51.44. So, good news all around for 11 athletes on the track and field team. And considering this was the first semester back for the men, 2 months ago, I think almost right on the dot, it was like mid-January or something when they came back. They've been back for 2 months, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4 of them earning all conference.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, if you'd have asked me who is the Sunbelt power in track and field, I would not have guessed Arkansas State, but dang, apparently they are. So there's your measuring stick program. I'm not trying to take anything away from what we're doing, but remember I was talking about tennis last week, and I was like, I wonder who it is. And well, that kind of fell in my lap this week because I know we're going to talk about it here and Around the Herd, but apparently it's Old Dominion, and they were ranked in the top 20, and they came in and played the Herd in a match this week, and so I'm learning. We're learning all this kind of as we go. We don't know the movers and shakers and all the sports, but I would have not have guessed it would have been Arkansas State. Nothing against them. I just I would have thought it was one of the Georgias, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or maybe a Southern Miss or something. But apparently, Arkansas State is the team that you're going to have to get by if you want to win the championships. But that's irrelevant right now. Congratulations to all of our athletes. Macy Majoy, a first team performer who didn't see that one coming. I don't know if she truly got gypped or not, but this is a Abby Herring fan account. So she got gypped. Yeah. She got robbed. No, and congratulations to all the guys and the gals that were second and third team performers too, man. It's kick-ass stuff. And we just absolutely love to be able to bring that type of news to the fan base.
You mentioned we don't know the movers and the shakers, and that's a big yet. And that's because we are not yet 9 months into this Sunbelt Conference. And this weekend, several of our teams played for their first ever time in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
So, we softball, baseball, you can kind of look at that stuff. A lot's out there. There's just not a lot of coverage on track and field until you
Mhm.
actually have to go back and look at the individual results from the previous years. And maybe they were the movers and the shakers last year, but they might not be this year, especially with an influx of look how it happened for
Yeah, new talent.
basketball
I
and
mean,
football.
yeah.
The four that came in were up pretty high in both.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll agree with that. I mean, James Madison has come in and I won't say put a stranglehold on things, but they've they've tallied quite a few championships. So, just because some certain teams were dominant last year, well, James Madison has dethroned quite a few because they weren't even in the FBS. I know that's a football term, but
Mm-hmm.
they were still in the Colonial last year, and now they've come in and won several team and individual type championships. So I think the winds of change are moving a little bit. There are some teams. Marshall's obviously proven that they're strong in certain things, and there's areas where we're going to have to build. We know that we're not going to come in and say we're the best in everything because obviously we're not. But there are some things that we are better than existing teams that were in this conference, and I think for a good measure by some of those teams, we were underappreciated for what we brought to the table until we took them to the woodshed, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well maybe Marshall is a insert sport here school.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Bottom line, congratulations to our runners and field performers.
And I think a lot of stuff too. Final topic that I'm going to say on this attendance. We have the four newcomers have
Yeah.
brought a lot to that. Um, it's not all of us in every single sport, but for the most part, we have raised the conference and everything. And what happens with a rising tide?
Yeah,
That's what I think that
you would like to think it rouses all ships, but
that's what we're hoping is going to happen.
I
All
think
right.
it gets some of the hold on, it gets some of these teams to look at the other old school Sunbelt teams and go, y'all got to do better.
Yeah.
Because Marshall and Southern Miss and Old Dominion, James Madison are coming in and they're bringing fans. It's like you guys got to do something now. Like you're
Yeah. I keep thinking back of um, Marshall coming into the MAC, when they came back in
Mhm.
'97, and I imagine that it was like when Larry Bird walked in to the locker room for the 3-point contest back in the '80s and said, "Which one of you bleep is coming in second?" I'd like to have that not only swag but
Yeah.
also knowing that you could back it up and do it.
Yeah, to be able to back that up. Yeah.
Yeah, because anybody can come in and announce that,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to back that up.
But Larry Legend hits the shots.
All right, we're going to talk about somebody that is probably going to be making a push for a Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week, and that is Luke Edwards. What a week he had. On Wednesday against Ohio State, he collected his 200th career hit. Obviously, he's got more than that now because I'm going to tell you that yesterday in the loss to Appalachian State, he tied the school's doubles record, and today he broke that record. So he is now the leading hitter as far as doubles go for Marshall.
And program history, not just for this current team. I mean, this is big
Yeah.
stuff, like all-time leader. But look, this is going to be a huge uphill battle to win any baseball player of the week in this conference because, damn, there are stellar performances week in and week out. And this is nothing against Luke. This is just speaking to how strong this freaking conference is, full of hitters,
Yeah.
power hitters, contact hitters. I mean, great pitching. It's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. So when you get one of those, I think like that's actually a legit accomplishment because there are guys that are coming out every single week and putting up stat lines and doing things that you would think would put them in the running for a national player of the week type deal. So of course, we'd love to see that kind of stuff, but man, that's going to mean something when you get one of those other weeks. Not that any of the other ones don't, but the competition is so fierce in this conference that those accolades won't be just handed out because somebody had one good game.
The record, by the way, as of today, is 49 doubles for his career and 200 hits, 49 of them being doubles. That shows you that he's doing some good work there for a quarter of his hits, or
Yeah.
close, because he's now got 205 or so hits. But anyway, great player last year, picking right up this year, and heading into Sunbelt. We'll talk about that in Around the Herd.
Yeah, man, it was a killer week, I guess, and we had
Not
some
over
good.
yet.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, no, we got it's Saturday night. We're recording. Normally, we try to do this on a Sunday, or we try to get the weekend's games mostly over. But we had to go a little bit early this week. But so there's still some softball games to be played. There's baseball games tomorrow. There's some other stuff going on. But well, let's just start talking about it, shall we? Let's take this cat around the herd.
Yeah. Anyway, that wraps up the 5 this week. 6 things every Herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by Ignite Link. Yeah, let's take it around the herd, and we are going to start with track and field. Outdoor track begins the week by getting 5 victories and, get this, 37 lifetime bests. Personal bests by 37 different times. So let's talk about those. This was at the North Florida. I can't remember
Yeah,
what
they were
it's
in
called.
Jacksonville, right?
Yeah. So these individual victories here, we've got, let's see. Here we go. Macy Majoy, go figure. She had 4.00 meters in the pole vault, just above what she did for the Sunbelt Championship. Diana Goodman finished second in that, 3.85 meters. Women's high jump, this was not I'm going to skip that one, come back to it. It was not a first. Rebecca Merritt is another one of those first in the discus. She had 49.93 meters. And the women's 100 hurdles, Tyra Thomas finished first with 13.52 seconds. The women's 4x400 relay, the team of Elaine, Beckett, Mitchell, and Porter were first with 3 minutes 47.51 seconds. A lot of different second place, third place, fourth place, and fifth place finishes, which you would expect with personal bests for them to be in the top 5 down there. Just an absolute mind-blowing meet. If you want to see all of these times, all of these finishes, go on over to the article on Herd Zone and read about it. We obviously don't want to break down all 37, but we don't want to take away from these athletes. So
Yeah.
please go look at these. Heck of an accomplishment. And what do we say on here with track and field and stuff? You're not always racing against the people across from you. You're racing against yourself.
Sure.
And anytime you're setting 37 personal records, I think that goes to show you that you're doing the right thing.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget, this is the first outdoor meet of the season. So hell of a way to start off the season. 37 personal bests and 5 victories. I'll take that. Is it I don't know that anybody does this. You know how somebody will be like, "Oh, we're a football school, we're a basketball school, we're a pole vault school." That's what I know. At this point right now, Marshall is a pole vault school. So we're going to own that one until future notice. But a hell of a good start for outdoor track and field season.
That gives me an idea. Hit me up with it later, KD. Let's see. We are going to move on from track and field and go to swimming and diving. We had talked about last week, they were still in the middle of that meet. And at the time, 9th place finish was the best that they had. They ended up on the second day moving up quite a bit. I think they were like 35th in the field, and they ended up 22nd in the field. So they had a really good showing in day 2. Finished 22nd of 67 teams at the CSCAA NIC. Paige Banton had the highest finish. She finished 6th in the 200-meter breaststroke. Esther Laban had 2 top 10 finishes, with 8th in the 1,000-yard freestyle and 10th in the 1,650-yard freestyle.
Yeah, The 22nd out of 67 is pretty legit, I would think. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, again, swimming and diving is just one of those sports that, like, unless you're just kind of in it and you really are passionate about it and follow it, who knows who, is the top tier, unless you're churning out Olympians. Like, I would think like Michigan is a historically strong swimming school, something like Stanford, you know what I mean? Like, but 22nd out of 67, I feel like is a really solid finish for a school like Marshall. I'm not, again, I'm never trying to slight what we're doing, but I feel like that's really solid, man. And I really like what we're doing. I've said that many, many times. I like the path and I use this word a lot, the trajectory of the program. It just seems like it's consistently getting better, and now I'm getting to the point to where when you are telling me or you're reading some results, I am beginning to catch myself thinking he's about to say Paige Manton. He's about to say Esther LeBon. Like I'm starting to feel like I know the names you're going to say are performing at a really, really high level. So making a bit, what was that? A 10, you said 30, mid 30s in the day one. So to make a 10 to 15 spot leap.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's really killer, man, to have I don't want to call it a bounce back day, but to just come out even stronger in day 2 to move up 15 spots. It's pretty legit to me, and I'm happy to take that.
And that's going by memory, so I could be wrong, but those 2 articles covering both days are also available on Herd Zone. Look, we talk about Herd Zone all the time. That's where they put out a wealth of information. Those guys do a great job getting every single sport covered on there. And you would do yourself a favor to download that app so you can always know the schedule, but go visit that page. It tells you where you can watch. It tells you where you can listen. It tells you where they're going to play. So, if you say, hey, I'd like to see when the next time they're coming to the dot, go look at the schedule. And finally, I want to say that I have zero empirical evidence to back this up, but I just want to say that I have a belief that UC Santa Barbara is probably a good swimming school.
Okay. I would say so too.
I have no empirical evidence, but when you were thinking of that and you said Michigan, and I'm like, Michigan?
That's where Michael Phelps went.
But I'm like, what are they up in the Upper Peninsula up there? Just
and Florida, the Gators, I think, are historically pretty strong too.
Well, I could see Florida having swimmers.
I said Michigan because that's where Michael Phelps went. That's all I know.
I started thinking of beach towns and everything. And I'm
I always think of like Pac-12, like that kind of thing. They're always pretty strong in track and field stuff. They're, and the water sports, like, I don't know, polo, water polo.
Yeah. You gave me another end. That's where I get to say that the only reason we don't have it is we didn't want to get the horse stuck in the pool.
Mr. Belding, please report to this gymnasium.
We're off the chain this week, man.
But hopefully all the other people are laughing their asses off with us when we say these jokes from our youth.
Nobody gets them. They're probably fast forwarding right through this. All right, we're going to move on to tennis, and tennis had quite a run, and we're going to talk about this. Remember, we ended on their last meet. They had swept every single match in going. I think they were 6-0 on that, maybe 7-0. But then they came around the very next one. They beat Arkansas State 7-0. Radford, they won their first 4, so that came out that they had won that meet, and then they had to finish the day. They finished up 6-1, and then they were ranked 75th. And you mentioned Old Dominion. Old Dominion was 20th in the nation. And we lost to them 5-2. And we'll talk about that in just a second, but just want to say that they have Georgia State next Saturday and Troy next Sunday. Both of those are away. So now we can talk about these matches that they had.
Now, let's remember, we started out 2-0, right? Because it was Louisiana Monroe swept, and then Arkansas State swept, and then you get the Radford deal. And then Old Dominion comes to town, and Old Dominion is a top 20 tennis program. When they put the rankings out and the Herd came in at 75th, I clicked the link and I was like, well, this is a good opportunity to see if there's another Sunbelt program ahead of us, because I was curious from last week who might be the ones we have to look for when it comes tournament time. And lo and behold, there was Old Dominion at 20. And there was not another Sun Belt program. We were the next one at 75. So that tells me right there that Old Dominion is the team that you have to consistently, I don't want to say prepare for, but you're going to have to get by them to win a championship. You have to say that they're the favorites to win the tennis championship if you're placing the bet right now. I mean, a top 20 program. And I would think that the Herd did pretty well, 5-2 overall. Of course, it's not a victory, but that looks worse than it is. You're two wins away from winning that one. It's 4-3 at that point. So I'll take it. We're still having a fabulous season, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a measuring stick type match. And it could go really either way. You never know who the matchups are going to be. If we have another match against them, who knows if the same matchups will be the same matchups. It could go a different way. So but that's pretty cool. I think that's a really good, strong showing against the top 20 program. And now you get to, try to get your groove back a little bit against Georgia State and Troy and look to move toward 4-1 in Sun Belt Conference play. I would take that. I don't think there's a Herd fan out there that wouldn't, say, well, I'll take 4-1. But obviously you want to be 5-0, but damn, it's better than being 1-4.
Yeah, and if they could have beaten, and it's not like we're saying that they were 1 point away from doing this against Old Dominion, but had they beaten them and then they started 3-0 and then have Troy or
Georgia State and
4-0,
Troy,
yeah, that ended up 5-0, I would say that their ranking would be very, very, very high.
I would say so too. You would think that it would skyrocket after beating Old Dominion.
Yeah.
I don't know how tennis rankings work, and if it's like football or basketball or more like baseball, to where you can lose one and you kind of, if you go 2-1 on a series in baseball, you're not going to drop that. You're not going to plummet like if you lose a football game. Yeah. But if you happen to beat a top 20 program and you're 75th, I would think you might shoot up to somewhere in the 50s or 40s. You would think. But what do I know? I'm learning the game of tennis and tennis rankings in real time with kind of everybody else that cares to learn it. So, but still, I'm happy with where we are. I'm proud as hell of the effort that we're putting out, and I'm really digging the hot start, despite, losing to a top 20 team.
We're moving on over to the links. Women's golf finished 9th of 11 at the River Landing Classic. Not excellent. But what was excellent, Emily McClatchy, as we discussed, finished second, 1 stroke off the lead. And again, the only player that was +1 or better for all 3 rounds that they played.
Yeah, let's chalk this one up to bad weather. You said it was inclement and wasn't very good. So let's just chalk this finish up to bad weather, and we'll spin it that way, and then we'll try to play a bounce back deal. But still, inclement weather, bad conditions, whatever you want to call it, whatever it was or wasn't, I don't know. You can't take away the fact that Emily McClatchy went out there and just flat performed, period. Mm-hmm. She just flat performed. So one that we will undoubtedly keep closer tabs on because, hey, wonder what she'll do in ideal conditions.
Yeah. Men's golf, ECU Intercollegiate is Monday and Tuesday coming up. Also, let's see, the men and the women, this is a week off on the 27th, 28th, and 29th, I think it is. They are going to be at the same place for the big intercollegiate meet, and we'll be talking about that on the next show. But the men will be playing Monday and Tuesday. Anyone down there in that area, go root on your Herd. Baseball, they lost to Ohio State 5-1 on Wednesday in Charleston. Also in Charleston, yesterday they lost 12-4 to App State, and earlier today they lost 9-8. Then they will finish out the series tomorrow in Charleston against App State. They picked up a game in Cincinnati on Tuesday. I'm actually going to be in Cincinnati on Tuesday, coincidentally, but I won't be able to go to that game. Already got plans. And then they will be at Old Dominion. Man, those guys rake. They just mash. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this coming week will be down there, and that is going to be a hill to climb.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching a little bit of the game today,
Mm-hmm.
and that was back and forth, man. So the Herd had the lead, they lost the lead, they got the lead back, and this ultimately let it slip away there late. Which, God, how many times did we say that last season?
Yeah.
And this is a different brand, so we really, really are hoping to capture more of those this year, especially in this conference that we're going to try to navigate our way through. But um, some stellar individual performances. I don't know if you have stats there or you want to talk about them, but
I do.
please do.
Patrick Copen, I wanted to talk about him again. We talked about him in, I can't remember if it's 4 innings or 4.1 innings, and he struck out like 10. And he
Mm-hmm.
had 6 through the first 2 innings in his last outing. He fanned 11 in that game on Friday. Obviously, we've been talking about Luke Edwards, and here is what he did on Friday: 1 for 4, but that was a double to tie that record. He also picked up a walk. Um, Third baseman Daniel Carinci, he just keeps mashing, and we picked up 4 runs on 7 hits and had 5 walks. We're getting on base. It seemed to be pitching just kind of, I mean, you're talking about 11 strikeouts, but pitching just did us in. We had trouble with that last season, and we've had a much better season, I think, so far with our pitching, but we just ran into one this game,
Yeah.
giving up 12 runs. Patrick Copen went 6 innings, had those 11 strikeouts, 3 earned runs on 6 hits, 3 walks. But then Bryce Blevins comes in 2 innings. He gives up 5 earned runs, and Nicholas Wyrick gives up 3 earned runs in 1 inning. 8 runs in the final 3 innings after Patrick Copen had struck out 11. So
Yeah.
just poured it on us there at the end. The next game, if you got some stuff that you want to talk about, I've got more on here, but you go ahead and I'll catch up.
No, I was just gonna say the same type of deal. You talked about just now that we kind of ran into one,
Yeah,
and that's gonna happen a lot in this
it does.
conference. I mean,
What happens in the game of baseball?
it does, but I mean, particularly in this conference, we're gonna run into a lot of hitting and particularly power hitting teams that can just erase a lead in a one swing of the bat.
Yeah,
So not having, I don't know, just a pitcher, multiple pitchers that you can just go to the pin with tremendous amounts of command and strikeout ability. It's just an uphill battle, man, because these guys, particularly you're talking about Old Dominion coming to town.
mm-hmm.
If their lineup doesn't scare you from a power hitting standpoint, I don't know that you're following college baseball at all, because
Yeah. They've
they just
got
take the ball out of the yard.
they've got 2 guys that are just back to back leapfrogging each other
Yeah.
on home run lead. Today's game, I've got the stats up now that I wanted to talk about. The
Mhm.
top of the order had 8 of the 11 hits on the day, and let's see, scored 4 of the runs and had 6 of the RBI. Top 3 were Luke Edwards, 3 for 4 with 3 runs, 1 walk. Kyle Schaefer, center or catcher. Luke Edwards was center fielder. 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. And then Owen Ayers, who hit a big home run, 3 for 4, 4 RBI, 1 walk, and of course the run on the homer. 8 of the 11 hits,
Man.
4 of the 8 runs, 2 of the walks out of 6, and 6 RBI out of the 8. The top of the order just carried them. But not to be outdone, Elijah Vogelsong also went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. And shortstop Keebler Peralta went 1 for 3 with a run scored and a walk. Just a little bit. They came back at the end just a little too late, a dollar
Mhm.
short. Again, if you're not giving up 9 runs, you win this game. Pitching's getting better. Just got to be more consistent with it, and especially like you said, in this conference, that's gave up 12 runs. The next day, 9 runs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to win when you're doing that.
It is, and we're not by any means cashing out on this team, right? Because
No.
we all know that it's going to take some time to build a top to bottom competitive roster where some teams are just ahead of us in this conference. They are. It's nothing against our guys; they can go out and beat anybody on any given day. But to consistently be competitive from top to bottom, pitching staff from top to bottom, it's going to take a while. And are the pieces in place? I feel like they are. And then when you open the doors on a stadium and you start having that to dangle in front of recruits and say, look where you get to come and play, we're going to start to catch up. But in the meantime, we're just going to have to play what I feel like to be spoiler a lot of times, because I don't think that we're respected, from a team standpoint by some of these other teams in the conference.
Yeah.
So they're going to look at us and go, okay, Marshall's coming to town. Big deal. Yeah. And you go in there and you win 2 out of 3 or you sweep the series. That's the kind of thing you're going to have to be like, yeah, well, what now? What, so I love these guys. I love that they work hard. I love that they're, in it. I mean, but I feel for them, because they go out there and bust their asses and they come up short, they lose it in the latter portions of the game, and they're like, man, we got this one. And then something happens. And then,
well, here today, Drew Harlow came in relief, and in 3 innings, he gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 7 hits. And you think, oh man, that's probably a problem all year, right? No, it's his first loss of the year, and now he's 4-1.
Right.
It's one of these situations where you hit conference play, and I said it earlier, you ran into one, and it happens in baseball. It doesn't matter that it's in conference, but like you said, this conference rakes. It's up there.
They're good, man. There's a lot of good teams here.
We've been talking about it for baseball and softball when we were previewing the Sun Belt move last July, and we kept saying, it's a different animal. Not that Conference USA was bad, especially with Rice and stuff like that with baseball. But
Sun Belt, this conference has multiple ranked teams in it. Okay,
top to bottom, it is tough. It is a tough conference.
Yeah. So, am I going to accept losing? No. Are you going to accept losing? And is Beals and this coaching staff these players? Of course not. I'm just saying it's not easy to win games in the Sun Belt. It's just not easy to win games. I don't care who you are. We saw a killer series going down between 2 other top tier, Texas State, Southern Miss. Mm-hmm. You think either one, somebody had to lose those games. Yeah. Somebody had to lose. And you're talking about 2 ranked teams, up there performing really, really high on a national stage. And they faced off, and somebody had to lose. Somebody had to lose. It's just going to be incredibly hard to win games in this conference. We will win games. We will. But there will be those games that slip away that you should have had. And I feel like today's game particularly was one of those games. Maybe not. You can't look at a 12-4 game and go, well, we almost had that one. But you can look at a 9-8 game when you were leading late and go, damn it, a play here and a play there, and that one was ours. So we just got to capture more of those than we let slip away, and we'll be all right.
All right, we're going to keep it on the diamond, but as will be the norm for the foreseeable future, we're going to close up with softball. We are a softball school. Yep. This is a softball podcast, and we're going to talk about the weather, kind of throwing some wrenches at us for the App State series where we're down there in softball. Yesterday's game got postponed. They were supposed to play a doubleheader today. They played 1 game today. The second game got postponed. Latest I'm hearing is tomorrow's games are postponed. We'll have to see about that. But anyway, they ended up beating App State today 8-0 in 6. We don't know about tomorrow, if we'll play 1 game, 2 games, 0 games for this. But we're heading to Louisville on Wednesday for a doubleheader. First game is UT Martin, and immediately following is Bellarmine. And then we're right back to the dot hosting Southern Miss Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. So I watched the game today. I was at home. I was just chilling. This is my day off. only day off this week. And I was like, I'm not doing crap. I'm going to watch softball, and then we're going to do a podcast later. And that's what I planned on doing. And right off the rip, let me tell you, because I tweeted about this because it rubbed me the wrong way, because it felt like these App State announcers were trying to downplay how good of a team Marshall is, and I tweeted it, and I'm going to say it again because it's total crap. He said, Marshall's 21-3 on the season, but have only played 2 games on the road. And I thought, did you even look at the schedule? Because right off the top of my head, I knew we played 4 games in Leesburg, Florida.
We had the first 11 games were on the road or something like that. In the 2 series, the Liberty series was or the Liberty Invitational or whatever was 5 games. I think we played 5 or 6 down in Florida.
We did. So I went back and looked just to prove how wrong they were. 4 games in Leesburg, Florida, 5 games in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 5 games in Lynchburg, Virginia.
There you go.
Then we come home to the dot to finally play some home games.
Yeah.
So 14 of the 24 games up to the start of the day's games were on the road. That's pretty close to 2, I understand. But what that's so egregious. Like, well, they're a good team, but, they don't go on the road. Man, whatever. So what do? We go out there and run rule your freaking homeschool squad. How do you like that? Because I sure enjoyed it. I don't know about you guys, but I sure enjoyed watching it. And I'll tell you, it was I think Sid Nestor, who was in the circle today, she was not her normal dominating self. 5 walks today, only 4 strikeouts, complete game, by the way. So it just shows me that Sid can go to the circle, not be her best self, and we can still go out there and beat the snot out of a team, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not, I love Sid, love her. And I don't think if she's listening to this, she's not going, I can't believe he's out there dogging me like that. No, this is a compliment to her ability and this team, because even her B game is better than most pitchers' A game. Okay. So I just want to get that out there.
I have something to add real quick.
Okay.
Going with an analogy with major league pitchers, what they have always said about an ace is that they become an ace not because of their stuff or their ceiling. They become an ace because when they don't have their best stuff, they still find a way to win, and they go out there, and that's what you're talking about today. So that is not a slight. That is the best compliment you can give somebody.
That's how you drive home that she is, in fact, an ace.
Yeah.
But to that end, this defense came up big for her. She was in a serious jam. Bases were juiced, and, App was looking to get on the board. And I tell you what, man, I don't know where Bick was, what made her slide and line up where she lined up at shortstop, but there was a 100% line drive that would have landed in left field and probably would have played it a couple. Yeah. But she was Sydney on the spot and caught the liner to thwart that App State little rally they had going on and preserve the shutout. And ultimately, App State could not play any, obviously, for the duration of the game. But there were several big moments defensively in that game. There were several big plays offensively in that game. I mean, we started out plating 1 in the top of the first. We plated 1 in the top of the second. We flirted around here. We 3 up, 3 down. And then we get to the 5th and kind of bust out a little bit for 4 runs. App State has a pitching change. I noticed that they brought in a pitcher that was from Elkview, the 2-time West Virginia high school softball player of the year, 2018 and 2020, went to Hoover. And I was thinking, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. She's going to face the herd for the first time ever. And I was intrigued to see how that went. But right out of the gate, she plunked Grace and put Grace on the base paths and, kind of opened the floodgates a little bit. And, we traded some bigger moments there in the innings, but no real damage. And then Autumn Owen sent one into frickin' orbit. God, I hope you saw the replay of that hit. Did you?
13th homer. Yeah, I saw it.
Wow. I mean, I don't know I think she put it on top of that building out there.
They said it hit the roof.
Because that was out of frame and I never saw it land. And she knew it immediately.
Put it on the roof.
It was awesome. So great game all the way around, right? Sid Nestor goes complete game shutout, 14-2 now on the season. A 6-hitter with 4 Ks and 5 walks. I mentioned how the herd kind of scored their runs. Autumn Owen, you mentioned the 13th home run on the season. She goes 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs on the day. Alex Coleman, I believe, swiped a couple of more bases to extend her team lead and stay atop or really close to the top in the Sun Belt Conference. She's kind of flirting. If she keeps this pace up, she's flirting with the single season stolen base record.
Yeah.
She'll have to keep it up at a pretty hefty clip. But as of right now, I feel comfortable saying she's flirting with that single season stolen base record. And I mentioned Sid Bickle being Sydney on the spot with the clutch line drives catch to thwart the runs or to thwart the little rally that App State had. A couple other big hits. Bub had an RBI double. It was just a great team effort today, man, to really show that they don't just completely rely on Sid Nestor to go out there and have 10, 12 Ks in a game to cruise to victory. They can do it with Sid, just workhorse type effort today, hits here, hits there. We're used to seeing Sid go 7 innings, 6 innings, whatever, complete game, one hitter. And we didn't see that today. And the Herd still won in convincing fashion, 8-0. And I don't know that they want to play another game.
The rumor is they have the weather machine out there trying to make it to where the field cannot be played on tomorrow.
I'll tell you another funny thing I heard. They said that the turf got frozen, or not the tarp got frozen to the field, and that caused the pushing back of the game today. It's like, I'm sure that's happened before, but I've just not heard that. It's like, yeah, the tarp got frozen to the field. We had to delay the start of the game, which made me think, did they wait on it to thaw out, or were there people out there like with warm water or something? I don't know, but it was just funny to hear me say that. So congratulations to Megan and Corey and Allie and Maddie and all the players out there. They just continue to be so damn dominant. And now that we're into the Sun Belt, actually officially into the Sun Belt era, starting the whole damn thing out with a shutout of a historic rival at their house. How does it get any better than that?
Yeah. And best start again. Every game that they continue to win is the best start in program history.
Yeah, is a new best start. At some point, we're going to have to pull Megan back onto the show and revisit some of those questions that we asked. So, because I'm really looking forward to asking her some of those again.
I remember asking in the first 25 games, what's your record going to be? And she said 22-3. I remember that.
Yeah. I got a feeling that it would be like a Cheshire cat smile when we bring her back on. For like, well, I don't know. How are we doing?
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of them, man. Just top to bottom, so many gals getting on base consistently. They kept saying over and over on the broadcast, all but 2 players on the Marshall roster are batting over 300. Mm-hmm. Over all but 2 players, several over 400, and one is batting over 500. How do you defend that? This is really there are no weak spots in this lineup right now.
And the players that are hitting below 300, it's not like that they are not hitting, because they're having some very good games. It's just that on average, they've got a couple of games where they went hitless, and it's brought their average down on the year. Sure.
It doesn't mean you're not getting on base, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just super proud of them. I'm super happy for them. This group of girls is so cool to watch. And I love the interaction that we're starting to get from them. I don't know if they're just now discovering our show and starting to learn of how like truly behind this team that we are, but we appreciate that. And we're going to keep banging the softball drum until there's not an empty seat remaining at Dot Hicks Field. And one beyond that, we're not going to stop until there are not only any empty seats, but the outfield is full of camping chairs, coolers. I mean, it just, when the weather breaks in Huntington, there better not be an empty spot in Huntington at a softball game.
I can't wait to go back.
And honestly, you should be out there with coffee and chili if you're worried about the cold weather, right? Because they're just that damn fun. So congratulations to all of them. We love you guys. Keep on keeping on. This is great.
I don't know if I'll be able to go on Friday for Southern Miss, but I'll definitely be there Saturday and possibly Sunday as well. For that. I cannot wait to get back.
Yeah.
Well, that ends it for Around the Herd.
Oh, damn. That was quick. Jeez, we're like 30 minutes quicker than normal on the episodes this week. but that's all right.
I do have this.
Oh yeah,
And
let's talk about the TC chalkboard real quick.
as I get this down here, here is clue number 4. And I'll try to get that as close as I can.
It's pretty clear.
And we're going to have this up again. We'll have photos like I do every week. After this episode launches, we're going to have this this up as a photo. And what I want to tell everybody is number 1, please DM your guesses.
Yep.
Even if you get it wrong, what you are doing is kind of ruining it a little bit for other people because you're influencing maybe how they are looking at this. We're not going to answer it publicly, so they may think that they're on the right track with your answer. If you get it right, you're still kind of taking it away from them a little bit because maybe they look forward to trying to figure it out on their own. We get a lot of messages on this. And the other thing that I want to say is messaging us with one individual board answer. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't be surprised when I say that is not the overall answer, because one board answering the puzzle, riddle, clue, whatever you want to call it, will not answer the entire thing. It's going to take all of them together, or at least multiple of them together. And there are more than one clue on each individual clue board.
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to make it clear to those that are playing or want to start playing along that, you absolutely should. Well, yes, we do get a lot of messages on this, and no one has gotten it right yet. But more importantly, each individual board is not the overall answer. It is just a piece of the puzzle. So you could answer all 7 clues correctly and still possibly not know the overall answer. So when you have a guess, and he, Russ is generally the one that replies. I try to stay out of those replies because I want him to run his contest. So when you're DMing about TC chalkboard clues, that's him that's going to reply to you. If he tells you no or yes, you haven't won the overall thing unless you get the overall thing. So each individual board is not the overall answer. Know that. It is a piece of the puzzle. Now, if you happen to get the overall answer, you're better than I am. But you should know that overall. Collect all the clues, collect as many clues as you can to get the overall answer. But please keep playing along. And yes, please DM your answers.
And again, cannot state it enough, and I'll put it out in a tweet as well when I put clue number 4 up. Every single board, including this one right here, has more than one clue involved in it. So just if you go back and look, if you think that you're getting one thing to take away from each individual clue, we had 3 of them before this one. There are more than one clue on each and every board that you will see.
Yep. I hope you're all playing along, so it's just something fun to do. It's a little puzzle, get the brain rocking and rolling.
And it's tough, man. It is tough. I did not make this. I didn't want to say, hey, let's put out a contest. First person that tells me what 3 + 2 is gets to win. I wanted it to be tough.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any final thoughts here before we close out the episode? I mean, I've got a couple, but if you got some, let's have them.
No. Well, yeah. Real quick, I just wanted to say that we made a lot of headway over the past week, and I hope to have these solidified next week to tell everyone, but it's looking like we will have 4 sponsors for the green and white tailgate and the softball tailgate the next week. And we hope to have more information on that, but we talked about it last week, and not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different sponsors.
Yep, that's pretty cool. And I want to do a house cleaning thing there. You said softball tailgate the next week. It's the next day.
Next day.
So
very next morning.
Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. Of course, that's spring football game weekend, green and white game weekend. Make yourself available. Make some plans to be there at the stadium Saturday for the green and white game for the ThunderCast tailgate, and Sunday for the big softball game against James Madison. We're going to have a tailgate there too, over at the Dot. So be there. It's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to seeing a lot of people. I'm going to try my absolute damnedest to do whatever I can, come hell or high water, to make the flight from Clearwater, Florida up to Huntington so that I can be there, because even I don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time. This is something we haven't done in a while, and I think it's a good time to do that, because we talked about season tickets for football being renewals are opened up now, so that'll mean they'll open it up for first time buyers coming up soon. But get your renewals in, go all in, man. It's $25, and we talked about all the perks that come along with that and how you can come out ahead most likely just by going all in. But we haven't talked about joining the Big Green in a while, and we need to talk about doing that, because this is a great time to make that happen as well. If you're going to be doing a season ticket renewal and you're not a Big Green member, you need to do that. At least get some sort of donation going, and click that that forever pledge so that you never have to remember to do it. We really need to collectively, as a fan base, step our game up. We're not asking anybody to overextend their boundaries, overextend their means, but chip in what you can, because we can all do something. Russ and I individually give, and of course we give as the ThunderCast, because it's important. We want Marshall to be on the forefront when there's a college football playoff expansion. We want them immediately trying to vie for that spot. We want to make the push for more soccer championships and basketball championships, and be more competitive in baseball, and continue to play at a high level in softball, and all of these things. We think volleyball is on the rise, and we see even Christian talked about really hoping that they can do something long-term with Ari, because he likes what she's doing with the program, and we do too. So, and it takes all of us to be a championship level fan base if we expect to win championships. Look into the Thunder Trust if you want to get involved from the NIL avenue of things, which I think you should as well if you can.
Yeah.
All of these things it's going to take. Christian talked about the brick campaign they're going to do for the baseball stadium that's coming up, and he talked about them we'll have details about all this when it comes out, but let's talk about it because he talked about it. They're going to come in with several pricing tiers, so that if you just want to get a brick and individually, you're going to be able to do that for a relatively small investment. And if you want a larger stone, then you're going to be able to do that for a more substantial investment. So all of these opportunities are going to come along, and I hope you do. I hope if it's something you're able to do, then do it. But all of us can join the Big Green today. Tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this, you can go in the description of our episode and click the link to join the Big Green. We make it really easy. You can click the link to go to the Thunder Trust website, and you can join and make it really easy. You can make contributions. We're trying to help. We really want this championship level to we want to get to this championship level faster rather than slower. And it's going to take all of us. So I'm a proud donor. I know you're a proud donor, and there are thousands like us that are out there in the Herd fan base. But there are some that are still on the fence, or for whatever reason just haven't done it yet. And we want to nudge you to do it. Make the push, hit the button, put it in $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can do. You don't have to give $5,000 a month. I can't. And I'm not shy in saying that, but I give what I can, because that's all that the Herd is asking. Give what you can, right? What do you got to say on that?
I just want to say that I cannot state enough. It is as little as $5 a month. Yep. You will get that money back. I wish I had my keys or my wallet on you and show you the Herd Perks cards. All you got to do, you see their decals in the window. You see when you're going to check out, they have it there. You can see on Herd Zone, which we talked about that app and that website earlier. You can go there and see where you can get these discounts and what those discounts are. And you start totaling it up. You will save money, and you will help Marshall, the school that you love, raise their championship banners. You can do that for as little as $5 a month to help out. Yep. You will get that money back tenfold, thanks to the business owners here in this community that care enough to say, yes, I want to participate in this Herd Perks discount program. And if you sign up because of what we're talking about on here, please DM us and let us know that we are making a difference, that we have convinced you to do so. If it's for the first time, if it's to renew when you thought maybe you weren't going to, or if you've been a lapsed member for years or decades, and we're the reason that's doing that, we would like to know, if nothing more, than what we're doing and our goals are being met.
Yeah.
Because we get nothing from this, we get no kickbacks from
Nope.
this. The Big Green did not ask us to do this. We made it a goal before day one of this podcast that, what would make a difference is if we could get more people to donate to the Big Green. We didn't have the Thunder Trust before day one, but as soon as that was a thing, we started talking about it as well, because it will make a huge impact on the school and athletic teams that you love.
Yep, it will. And furthermore, if you're donating, if you call up the Big Green and say, hey, man, I want to start whatever. I mean, I know you can do it online, but if you're the type of person that wants to call and talk to somebody and set it up over the phone, great. And tell them, it's like, man, those guys at the damn ThunderCast finally beat me down enough, and I felt like I had to do it. I'm sure that they would appreciate hearing that, because, that we're not, we don't get a kickback for that, but we do maintain a pretty good relationship with them, and they let us know, like, hey guys, somebody signed up because they heard it on the podcast, and we just wanted to say thanks for driving people that way. So it just helps us to know that what we're doing is working, because hey man, we're all on the same team, right? We're all heard, and we just want to see wins and championships. And in this day of competitive collegiate athletics, you have to compete. If you want to win, you have to compete.
Yeah.
And that takes scholarship money, and that takes NIL money. It just does. Whether you like it or you don't like it, that's the way it is.
I want to throw a call back to something that Coach Huff said about 10 episodes ago when he was on. It was episode 35. Don't ask me how I know, except for I've got an eidetic memory. But episode 35, Coach Huff was on here, and he said, hey, it's $5 as a minimum to get that herd perks. But like, if you can't afford $5 a month, give $5 one time, give $2 one time.
Mm-hmm.
If it's $2 more than you gave last year, just do more. Hey, all I've got is $2. If 20,000 people that go to the Marshall game said, let's all just give $2 more, that's $40,000. That's more than a scholarship, or I think right around where a scholarship is now, for one athlete.
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah. You got $2. Everybody's got $2.
Yeah. It's just do what you can. Not everybody on here can give $1,000 a month. Not everybody on here can give $1,000 a year. Not everybody on here can give $1 a month. But whatever you can, if you want, if it's $2, like Coach Huff said, just throw it in. It's more than we were going to have if you didn't do that.
Yep. Now's the time. Let's just do it, right? The last thing I've got today is I want to harken back to the new show that launched, Inside the Thunder. I don't know if you guys missed it or haven't seen it, or if you did watch it. I appreciate it if you did. This is something new that the ThunderCast is trying to do. Just more content for herd fans. We mentioned about the launch coming up in the last episode, and now we have the first episode out. And I got to sit down and talk with herd running back Kalen Laburn. And we talked about his journey a little bit, and kind of what's next for him, and it was a really great conversation. So I implore you, those are going to be YouTube exclusives on the ThunderCast YouTube channel. So please go check those out. You can expect to see about one every 2 weeks, and man, I've had some great conversations with some folks. I think you're going to enjoy what the ThunderCast is bringing. So until we have, more news, like I said before, 2023 is going to be a big year for us. This is just the first step in a lot of steps of what we are trying to do for you, the herd fan, and this fan base in general. I love using the word galvanize this fan base. We're a really strong fan base. We're very passionate as it is. And Russ and I are just personally going to try to do everything that we can do to make us a more close-knit group, a more passionate group, and one that cares even more, if you think that's even possible. But please go check out Inside the Thunder. It's a lot of fun. They're great conversations, man, and I appreciate it. Show those folks that trusting me enough to sit down and talk to me, give them an ad, like tweet at them and tell them that was a kick-ass episode, man, that you appreciated them opening up a little bit, or that you really enjoyed something they had to say. Like, let Kayla know that you appreciated him sharing, because, that takes a tremendous amount of trust. They don't know what they're in for. I mean, but I'm not going to I'm not going to blindside anybody with anything negative. It's always cool conversation, but still, they're trusting me and you guys to react positively. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that I've talked to so far doing that. So you can expect another episode. What is it, Saturday night? So probably in about 10 days, you'll get another Inside the Thunder, episode 2. I'm not going to tell you who it is right now.
Randy Moss.
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get that. Well, Russ and I will have to kick that back and forth. If we'll keep them a secret until they drop, or if we'll let the cat out of the bag. I don't know. I kind of like keeping it secret just to see who's going to drop. Bam. So you don't have any.
Randy Moss.
I wish. I mean, hey, man, we go back to high school at the same time. I don't know.
He's on there. I know he is.
Anyway, man, take us the hell out of here.
Yeah, whether you see us at the Dot, whether you see us at the Joan, whether you see us at the Cam, or whether you see us in Twin Towers East in the elevator as Randy Moss gets off and calls you dog once in college, no matter where you see us, we're always going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. We'll see you next week. Later.